Now, there are some questions I want to put in front of you. First one is by Nidhi Jain that Nisha, sorry, can you name some tests which can assess that a person is addicted or not?
Well, the tests are quite many, but right now we are using, you can use the DSM 5 or DSM 6 criteria. That is 12 characteristics of addiction. And they say if you have two, then someone is moderately addicted. If you have more a score more than three, then someone is severely addicted. That I have put it in my presentation. But there are also so many other tests. If you just go to Google, you can go to, there is one called Assist, yeah, alcohol substance use involvement, yeah, alcohol and substance use involvement test. It's there. It's very common. It picks alcohol, and it also picks other substances. So depending on the addiction you want to assess, you have a test. For example, gambling, eating disorders, they have their own test. While substance use also has its test. There is also another one called ASI, eh? Alcohol Addiction Severity Index. Addiction Severity Index. It's now they have 6 versions. With that, you can test a person's well-being on 7 domains: their spirituality, how their mental health, their physical health, their use of alcohol and drugs, their involvement in criminal activities, employment records, and their societal family records. So there are quite a number. It's like another topic of its own: assessment of addiction or use disorders.
Thank you so much. I think now we will move for our next question. It is by Yogita Srivastava. It is a slightly different question from the concept, but I would like to put it in front of you. He wants to know about the management of addictions like porn addiction and how we can manage or there are any management techniques regarding for this. So it is a very big problem whether it is shown publicly or not, but it is a problem of today's era. So kindly present your views regarding this. David Kalma for
Yes, I
some.
think the question was about pornography, and was saying if they're addicted to pornography, how do we help them? So I think the question was about pornography. And I want to say that all the behavioral addictions are therapeutically managed the same way we manage chemical addiction. So my presentation, the way I have presented how we counsel people with alcohol and substance use disorder are the same steps that we'll take while counseling people with the behavioral disorders such as gambling and sexuality and sexual sexual disorders or things like pornography. But the most important thing here is, first of all, to allow the client be away from the object of addiction. If a client has been using a computer to access pornography, or has been using a phone, or has been using hard materials, that is the first step. Withdraw that material from the client. You try to put the client in an environment where they cannot access that. And then with time, their confidence will grow. Secondly, you work holistically with this client. you try as much as possible to rebuild the client's connection with the family, because many times addiction comes to fill a big space that we have, because someone does not have contact with other people, so they use that space to fill their addiction. So there you work on the quality time they have with their family. If they are married, with their spouse, their spirituality. From this part of the country, from this part of the world where I come from, spirituality is a very, very important concept. Very, very important. People believe in the power of God. People believe in the power of prayer. And there are so many studies that have shown that when clients are helped spiritually, they are very effective in managing their addictions. You work with their career and they try to see what they can do. So, in all, it's not just taking them away from pornography, but also taking them towards something that is more attractive. You help them to develop new interests, finding new things that can excite them apart from pornography. That's what I had to compliment uh, about that question.
There is a question from Nidhi Jain. What are the ways to help the addicted to get rid of this?
Okay. Actually, I have not focused on the management, but then I will go about it and answer. Once the family member or the person with addiction, usually a family member, will come to you with the patient who has problems related to alcohol. What I personally do is that before I take the history, I take the pulse, the blood pressure, see for sweating, and see the tremors in the hand. If the person is having these features, it means that he is in simple withdrawal. Maybe the family members didn't allow him to take alcohol for a few days, and that is why he also was, you know, in agreed to come with them. So happily, unhappily, or whatever way. So I immediately call for my the personals working with me and give 2 mg of tablet lorazepam, which is a benzodiazepine, which works on the same receptors as alcohol, so that the withdrawal doesn't escalate into a complicated one in which you can get seizures or a very serious one that is called delirium tremens, in which the mortality rate is 40% in even the best of settings. After that, I take an alcohol history, and we have cues because rationalization, denial, projection, they are all ways in which alcoholics feel. So I take the history from the alcoholic person and also from the family members. Now, usually by the time they come to us, they will be needing a detoxification if they are ready to be admitted, because I'm saying this because I'm on the private sector now, but in armed forces they are admitted. Now, once you admit them, you check the level of withdrawal. There is a scale, CIWA, and other scales also, by which you can know how much serious the withdrawal, especially the delirium, is. Depending upon your clinical experience, you give either oral lorazepam, or you give injector lorazepam. Then you have to give neurobion, or thiamine is more preferable. You have to see the hydration status, give pantoprazole, any antacid, if he can take orally or in injectable form. After that, send all the blood, including serum electrolytes. I repeat, including serum electrolytes, which is very important, and do the blood sugar random. Before you give any amount, any way of dextrose, in any way, DNS or 5%, you have to give thiamine, or because the brain is using only glucose as a form of energy, and the person has been drinking for a long time, there will occur what is called Wernicke's Enkef Korsakoff psychosis, and you don't want to put your patient into more trouble than he is already. Now, if there is dehydration, you check the level of dehydration and start IV fluids. Best would be ringer lactate. Prior to that, you take your bloods, including serum electrolytes. Again and again on the urgency of getting a serum electrolyte report. If the serum electrolytes are not normal, the patient has to be shifted to the ICU and the medical specialist has to be involved in the treatment. Keep an intracath on the patient, because if he gets a seizure, you will have to give him IV lorazepam or you will have to give him IV compose. Your suction should be working, your oxygen should be well, you should have oxygen in your cylinder. Whenever any alcoholic comes, as a routine, the staff has to check it, and make your staff check this at least 3 times, alternate days in a week, that your suction is working and your oxygen cylinder is full and one is there in a replacement mode. Then you clinically decide how much lorazepam you want to give. If the person goes into delirium tremens.
Thank you very much, ma'am. We will move to Dr. Kalma David to present a conclude message regarding the event. If you are listening or hearing me, kindly present your conclude message to all the audience.
Okay. Once again, thank you very much for inviting me to attend this very interesting and educative session. Thanks to the organizers and my fellow presenters. It has been nice and refreshing hearing from you. The first speaker really refreshed me a lot about the medical interventions towards addiction. And the last speaker also gave me some insights about something that I have never given very serious thought. And this gives me also, it reminds me of most of the research findings on treatment outcome. People do research and they have compared different strategies and they ask what is the most effective way of helping people with alcohol and substance use disorders. And I find that almost all the interventions can be effective, but we need to get evidence. So I think now this is a time also to think beyond what we know and learn about what we don't know, considering that there is evidence. Like Barry was telling us about the evidence of his program when he went to the prison. I would be very much interested to know the circumstances under which it worked, and maybe it can also be another complementing our program. Because for us, in countries that are considered to be developing, we have to always look at interventions that are not expensive, that can easily be afforded by our population. And this networking is a way to go so that we can continue learning from each other. So also when we organize some activities in Uganda, maybe through this Department of Clinical Psychology of DSY, I will invite you so that we continue this knowledge sharing process. This can grow into something really very useful as a networking opportunity for all of us to know each other and to support each other and to learn from each other. Again, I want to thank you and I want to wish you all the best in your work.
Thank you so much, sir. At last, I would like to thank our honorable speakers, Dr. Harvandan Kaur. He presented his views very well to our audience, and Dr. Barry Ratner, sir, his blessings is always with us, and our chief guest, Dr. Kalma David. As you say, it's just a beginning. In future, we will work together for the upliftment of humanity, how we can serve humanity in real ways. So we can exchange our different ideas from different countries. The all knowledge is comes from the Vedic culture. So we will try to implement this basic knowledge to the humans and work for their betterment. And I would like to also thanks for our audience from India, audience from Poland, from Germany, USA, Bangladesh, Uganda, Nigeria. I am thanking you all for giving your precious time for this event. And for more information regarding our organization, Karuna Improving Mental Health, we have message in chat box. You can visit from that link, and if anyone wants to connect with our honorable speakers, I would request they would also drop their messages, websites, contact numbers in the chat box, so the audience or anyone who is interested to contact in with you for our future events, webinars, and etc., so they can easily contact us. So hope we will all together will make a positive change in the world. Let the make world a addiction free world. Thank you so much once again, all of you. Before ending the session, we will chant Shanti Path, and for this, again, we have to first chant Om. It is said that Om is a name of God. NASA also proved that the sun is producing a noise, and this noise is similar to Omkar. So before ending our session, we should sit straight, our spine should be straight, and should breathe. We have two nostrils and try to breathe from it. Fully relax your body, your mind. Firstly, we will chant Om, then after we will finish the session with Shanti part. And if there is any disturbance in our mind, in our thinking, we can generally perform a technique. We normally take our breath from left nostril. We can practice if we want to calm our mind. It is a psychiatrist, psychologist, student, or any professional who want to calm their mind. There is a simple technique. We generally breathe from left nostril like this and release from right nostril. After performing it 5 minutes, we get relaxed. Our mind, our thoughts will be vanished, and our mind and mental health will be good. So now time in the session, we will perform Omkar, then we will perform Shanti part. We all together can perform Omkar and Shanti part for betterment of this world. We are praying to Lord for serving humanity in better ways. We, all the divine soul, should work for their upliftment and betterment. So sit straight, close your eyes, Inhale and we perform Omkar at once. Take a deep breath. Om Shanti Antariksham Shanti Prithvi Shanti Apah Shanti Daya Shanti Vanaspataya Shanti Deva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvagam Shanti Shantireva Shanti Sama Shanti Om Shanti 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 Sarvarishta Sushantir Bhavatu. Okay, now it's time to end our session. I at last request Dr. Barry sir to kindly chant the Mahamrityunjay mantra with all of us for praying for the betterment of world. After that Mahamrityunjay, we would like to finish our session. So I will request Dr. Barry sir.
त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् स्वाहा.
Okay. For more informations, you can visit to the email as provided for registration link and the number which is shown on the registration link. For any information, you can visit to that contact number and email ID. Thank you so much again for your kind presence all over the world. It's just a beginning for the serving the humanity. We will meet again. Thank you so much. Now it's time to end the session and for your amazing time, precious time to all our audience, respected audience. They listen the whole event very silently and in a disciplined manner. Thank you so much. Now we would like to finish the session. Thank you very much.